In 2022, we had the privilege of interviewing Bonnie Shershow for our 12 Days of Cheesemas segments on Kitsch. As we were preparing for this year's Cheesemas episodes, we learned that Miss Shershow passed away. In order to honor her and her graciousness in letting us interview her, we are rerunning her interview as a tribute and as our opening to Cheesemas 2024. Have a listen today on Brewed and Boozed.
We are here with the founder and owner of Bonnie's Jams. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Southern California, and I grew up actually in Orange County, in this town of Orange, in an orange grove. I was sort of destined to do something with fruit, I think.
Absolutely.
Our house was surrounded by berry bushes and fruit trees. It was quite amazing how many varieties of fruit grew around our little backyard. And my mother made jam. And I just thought that was part of life, that you made jam. And I was able to taste the fruit when it was really ripe, like from the sun. So it has a sugar content that's really sublime, matched with the various fruits. And so when I was, I did all sorts of work that were kind of difficult. I would make jam as a kind of soothing process. But at one point I decided it would be fun to sell it. I never knew that it would turn into this. It is fun. I mean, the problem solving of a business is really fun. But it's a very different thing than going to your local store and seeing it and thinking, gee, that's my jam. It's kind of fun. But
So did you start selling it like at farmers markets or local stores or?
I lived about 3 blocks from a wonderful cheese store. Let me back up 1 second. We always used jam for sandwiches and breakfast toast. When I was in high school, my parents and we traveled to Europe, and in France, they served cheese with some jam on it. And cheese, as you probably know, is often at the end of a meal in France. And so they had these little wonderful homemade, it tasted like homemade jam. I think it was close to homemade jam. So years later, I lived near a cheese store, and I had always thought this idea of matching jam with cheese was a good one. So this was 1999. And a lot of people I don't think had thought about jam as being a non-pectin, just a wonderful fruit cooked down with just a touch of sugar, a little bit of lemon juice. So the cheese store, Formaggio Kitchen, is owned by Ihsan Burdel, who's from Turkey, and very sophisticated. And of course, he had some jams for cheese. And I asked if he would sell my jams, and he tasted them and he liked them. And then I had the nerve to say to him, I don't have a commercial kitchen. Can I use yours?
That's awesome.
So I did. And I made jam there in the summers for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. And then decided to try Whole Foods, which was kind of looking for local, they had a forager who looked for local producers of products. And so I started selling in Whole Foods in about, I think, 2009 or 2010. And it's been a great experience. Been really wonderful. I started with one store and then went to the region. They have a cluster of stores, and then went to 2 regions and finally 3 regions. And that
So did you have to go out of the little commercial kitchen to
I
make?
did. Yeah, and I found a commercial kitchen that was just in Lynn, Massachusetts, and that's where I made it for several years. And now we actually grew out of that, and now I make them in Pennsylvania. It's very hard to find a commercial kitchen that will pay the kind of attention you need to this kind of jam, because there's no pectin, only in the pepper jelly. But pectin isn't bad, but it gels the fruit immediately, holding the water in the product.
Oh.
And every jam then has the same consistency. They're all these gelled with a lot of water in them. So my process is to use no pectin except in pepper jelly, which I have to, and cook the product down. But finding a commercial kitchen that will do that, because it takes a lot more time and attention, has been really difficult. So we kind of searched the country for a place to do it. And I say I have really great partners now, Steve and Allison Holt, who work with me on this project. So
well, we're glad you found a kitchen, because we really love your jam.
oh, good. Yeah. And we're very particular about it.
What was the first jam that you made to sell, commercially?
I made actually single flavored jams, but I also made one. I tried making a blueberry jam, and I thought I didn't have quite the flavor I wanted, so I tried mixing in blackberries. So that was a jam called Black and Blue, which is one of our big ones. And then years later, working with Whole Foods, Joey Wells, who's their taste person, I made it into a bourbon berry, and that's exclusive to Whole Foods.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and that's great.
I think we've had that.
We've had that one. It's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, so, but then I went to a customer in New York, Eli Zabar's, which is this wonderful store, and met with Devin Fredericks, who's the wife of Eli. And I showed her the apricot and then the peach. And she said, don't you have it mixed with some flavors? And that's how I came up with peach ginger and apricot orange. So it's kind of evolved. But that's was kind of the beginning. And actually red pepper jelly, because when I was growing up, a very fancy hors d'oeuvre was a brick of cream cheese with pepper jelly poured on top of it.
Yes.
So I did.
We know that well.
We know that one.
This pepper jelly. And I really love it. I still love it to this day. It's
Well,
great.
pepper jelly's a big thing in the South. So
Yes. And there were people in Southern California had come from Arkansas and Oklahoma and some other more southern, what we think of as the southern states. And I think those people brought the pepper jelly with them.
Right. I noticed that we were in Whole Foods yesterday, and I hadn't seen it before, but your hatch pepper jelly, and we're really into hatch chilies, so I was excited.
Definitely excited to try that one.
It was a seasonal flavor, and we're hoping that they'll bring it back. Joey Wells again, and I worked on that together and came up with it, and I think it was really good. I thought of hatch pepper as mixed with some other fruit, but just the plain hatch pepper seemed to be the winner. So it was tasted by a lot of people at Whole Foods before we all decided that was a real group effort.
Have you ever made a jam that did not turn out how you expected it? Like maybe you came up with an idea and it just didn't work at all?
Yes.
Yes.
I can't even think of what that jam was. I probably just
Put it away.
Don't want to talk about that. Think about that. But yeah, I have, when I tried to do something with it. And it just didn't come together.
Yeah. Well, I tried to make a green tomato jam. It's more like green tomato juice, but it tastes good, but I couldn't ever get it to, I think the tomatoes just didn't have enough natural
I
effect.
had the same experience. I went to, I think it was Morocco, where they have a really good tomato jam. And I came back and I tried to make it. And actually they had a great orange, like poached orange that so I came back and I tried to do both of them. And what I realized is that it was probably a different breed of tomato and a different orange than we had here. There's
Right.
so many. And then they talk about terroir, which is, what is in the ground that affects the flavor of these fruits. So yeah, my tomato jam was a real failure too. I don't understand that.
Well, we'll save that to somebody else to
I
make.
get into the making the jam. I just love it. I get into a whole other zone. It kind of almost hours can pass, and I'm kind of dealing with the balance of the sugar and the fruit. It's just really a whole other. It used to take me out of a kind of hectic life. Right now it's a little more organized because I do have help. I don't make all the jam. I just make, the new ones. Well, I make them all in the big kitchen, but I have people helping with that.
Right. So you continue to create the new ones and and play with the new ideas and
absolutely. Yeah, it's really fun.
Your process for creating a new jam, is it based on where it's available, what's available, or do you just go, you taste something and go, oh, that'd make a great jam? What's the process?
There's all sorts of ways. I think that Whole Foods actually wanted me to make a pear jam. And I thought, and I like that. I love that somebody says, this is like a game show, somebody says, here's a pear. What are you going to do? How are you going to make this into a jam? And, pears, if you just cook them, would be like applesauce. There would be no I decided to try a whole lemon chopped up with the pear, because citrus peel has pectin in it.
Okay.
And you always, I put lemon in all my jams. It helps with the pH so that it doesn't grow anything horrible. And it gives wonderful taste to all fruits. So I ground up a whole lemon with the peel and everything, and it created a gel in the lemon, in the pear. So
wow,
that was kind of fun to create, because somebody says, here's, as I said, like a game show, here's a pear, what are you going to do with it? So but other ones like the bourbon berry, I don't know, I just talked to Joey Wells again at Whole Foods, and we just came up with this idea. So then it's a matter of balancing the flavors as you're cooking them on the stove. There are times when you make something on the stove, like the lemon pear, and it's one color because you're doing it in this little pot. And then you cook it in a huge kettle, you cook it at a very high temperature, and it turns out slightly different. But the difference wasn't negative. The difference was really good. It caramelized it a little bit more, and it tasted really good. But it's tricky going from a little pot to a huge kettle.
A grander scale probably changes things a little bit. So
yeah.
That's awesome.
Don't add anything. Your jams are really natural and
they're just fruit. Really, they're fruit, a little bit of sugar, and lemon juice. All of them. It's a really pretty simple process. I actually don't know how to use pectin with fruit jams. I've never done it, so I don't know. I'm a little afraid of it. That it would make it too hard or something. But
well, the consistency of your jam is lovely. So
Yeah, and each one is different, because each fruit is different.
yeah, but
I kinda
we
like
love them all.
Yeah, we have a bunch in the fridge actually right now from other cheese boards we've done. So, and we're definitely gonna have to get that hatch chili one. So,
Yeah, it's fun actually matching these with the cheeses. These cheeses are wonderful that are on the list. I know I got the so here's the cranberry cherry cabernet.
Yeah, that's the one that we have here. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's great, goes really well with almost any cheese, frankly. But
When you cook with alcohol, when you put the prosecco or the bourbon into your jams, how does that change the process? Because I know when I add, we cook a lot with alcohol, and you have to, it does affect it. So do you have to be?
it was interesting when I was working on the bourbon berry. I like the idea of bourbon. I'm not a particularly alcohol drinker, but I just like the idea of that flavor. And so I tried it, and it didn't, I don't know why it didn't kind of work. And then I realized if I added some vanilla to it, it would somehow match that bourbon flavor. And that tip was given to me by someone who said they had it at a bar, that some guy at a bar liked to put vanilla with the bourbon drink. So that was kind of interesting.
Well, she just made fudge and added alcohol.
yeah, I did one with Bailey's that was really good, but then I put Kahlua in the other one, and you can't taste it at all. Like it somehow, the chocolate just
goes away.
Yeah.
I think it's tricky. And actually, I had more bourbon in the bourbon berry, and there is a law or a rule or whatever you would call it, that you can only have so much alcohol. You can't have over whatever the percentage was. I can't remember what it was now, but so I had to really tone down the bourbon, which was a shame.
Well, but and also probably had to enhance that bourbon flavor with the vanilla to make up for the loss of.
I mean, it still works. It really, it's interesting. It's I think it's really good anyway.
Well, we've had the bourbon berry, and it's very delicious. So I don't. Now I'm wondering what it would have tasted like with a lot more bourbon.
You could add your own bourbon.
Yeah, there you go.
But I think you do want to cook off the alcohol, and that's part of it, because that's why the kind of you want the flavor, but not the kind of harshness of the alcohol.
Well, and I think it might affect the gelling of it as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But the consistency of the bourbon berry, which I have right here, and actually, I thought this was a really good match for the bourbon berry. This is the Robusto. This is the Casaggio.
Yeah, I'm anxious to try that one.
Yeah,
I haven't tried it yet, and I thought it would be really good with the bourbon berry. And the consistency of this bourbon berry, I'll show you, is really, I think it's really so good. It's a little different than black and blue. Very smooth. And it's just kind of nice. It's got, I don't know if you can see.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah. That's
nice,
great.
Big berries in it. It's kind of nice consistency. So I think it'll be really good with this one.
I think the beauty of this for consumers, the cheese is at a greatly reduced price, so they can try things that they might not want to buy a larger chunk of.
Right.
And then try all your products with it. And I'm sure there are people who have not put jam and cheese together. And
it's kind of natural when you think of the people used to put grapes, and they still do, I guess, clusters of grapes with it.
Yeah.
The lemon pear, I don't know if you've ever tried that.
I have not.
No, that sounds great.
Pears are really good with a blue cheese. It's a really good match. So this one is a Road Creamery, and that's one of the 12 days.
Right. Yeah, and we love that cheese.
This one is really good with it. So I
Might have to run and go.
We'll have to go grab that one too.
So now you said you have some exclusive jams with Whole Foods. Which ones are those?
They're the peach, the lemon pear, the cranberry cherry cabernet, bourbon berry, hatch pepper. I think that's it.
I looked on your website and you have some recipes for different.
Yeah, we have quite a few
things.
recipes. You can make a wonderful glaze for chicken or duck with the peach ginger, and we have a little bit of other the elements that we add to that. Pastries are kind of a natural. Putting a filling of apricot orange, or really any of these, bourbon berry in a muffin or a tart of some kind. Salad dressing, a little dollop of jam in the salad dressing is really delicious. I think the peach ginger is awfully good for that. Yeah, there's just lots.
Y'all have a website, so people can go to the website. Consumers can buy them in various places.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're sold across the country now, and we're global with Whole Foods, so that they're in all the Whole Foods in the cheese department. And in what we look for placement are cheese departments rather than on the jam shelf. They're a different price point because we get rid of the water. It's just fruit, so it's an expensive product to make. So it really belongs in kind of specialty, like a good chocolate or a fine cheese, obviously. So
I have put this one on toast. I'm not going to lie. I've put the cranberry cherry cabernet on toast. Yeah, it's really good.
It's good on toast. It's good with cream cheese on toast too.
Well, that sounds good.
Didn't think about that.
Yeah. Good as a condiment with turkey, or ham, or a pork roast. If you do that,
Make a good sandwich that way. That would be.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
A turkey sandwich. I like leftovers a lot. So a turkey sandwich with the cranberry cherry is really good.
All about. Do you sell direct to consumers, or do they need to go to their retail store?
Oh yeah, through the website we do. And in fact, we're on Amazon. We're not listed.
And you're doing a cheese and jam tasting for your family?
Yes.
That'll be so fun.
Yeah, when so some of them live in LA and my daughter lives in Oakland. Two boys and one boy that's mine and a second boy that feels like mine is in LA, and they come up, and when they leave, their arms are often loaded with jam. I see them more with my.
That's perfect.
Do they eat as you're testing? Do they take home the samples and?
Yeah. There was one mango jam. It was a mango pepper jelly that I made that one of them really liked. So they took all the samples.
First of all, thank you very much for talking to us. We've really enjoyed it, and also have a great holiday season. And I enjoy your cheese and jam pairings. We're going to be doing this every day for the next 12 days. So we love a good cheese board. So
wonderful. Thank you. Well,
Thank you.